you've enjoyed your Sunday so far. As I said earlier in a video, I did the review of the Lille game and talked about a couple of transfer bits, but I said I wanted to do another video later today, just to talk things a little bit more detail, obviously a bit more, there's other news to talk about as well. We've had quite a big update from X on a few bits and pieces, so I wanted to talk about that. If you're new to the channel, though, do subscribe. I do really appreciate the support. It's been fabulous lately. Honestly, it's been amazing. The amount of people that are now subscribing to us and commenting and liking videos is amazing. So if you can try and get over 500 likes a video, that'd be amazing. So do click like, that thumbs up for us, and also subscribe if you're not subscribed, because we really do appreciate it. Right, let's talk about a couple of bits and pieces. First of all, the big news I feel is about Lucas Paqueta at the moment, because there's been a fair amount of speculation, should we say, online in regards to Newcastle United and Paqueta. I don't know where exactly it stemmed from, but it's doing the rounds most definitely. That Newcastle are weighing up a move for Paqueta. They really admire him, and it could be that he's interested in a move, all that kind of stuff. So again, I try not to focus too much on that until you get it from X, and then you kind of know where we are. So we've got an update from EXWHUEMPLOYEE on this, and this is what the update is. It said an agent close to Lucas Paqueta has denied that he is pushing them for a move to Newcastle, and that they will pay in the region of £35 million for him. Firstly, West Ham have already said that we would only accept an offer north of £60 million. And secondly, West Ham have no intention to sell him. Paqueta has also said to be very happy at the club. So that's where we are with that one at the moment, which I think is really encouraging. Although I've got to say, I thought Paqueta was quite poor actually against Lille, which was a shame, because it would have been nice to see him flourish just ahead of the Premier League season. But that's not to say he won't do very well. I think he's going to have a great season for us this year. I really do. I think he is staying. I feel like it looks that way, doesn't it? There's not many clubs. The thing is, it's as much as we put these labels on players sometimes, you say, well, he's 60, 70 million pounds. Well, there's a few clubs. There's only like a handful of clubs that can pay that sort of money. There's not many out there that can spend that amount on one player. So it limits his options anyway. Also, as we've said previously, since he was found innocent of the betting, the spot fixing allegations, Paqueta has made clear to the club he wants to repay West Ham. He feels that he owes West Ham something, so he's not really pushing for a move, which I'm quite surprised about. I do think that I thought he would have done personally. I thought he would say to West Ham, like, I really want to get out, but he's quite happy to stay. So I think it's fair to say at the moment, as we stand today, I think it's fair to say that Paqueta to Newcastle is a no-go. If they're looking at 35 million, well, they're miles off, aren't they? They're already, £25 million off where we need it to be as a minimum. So I just don't. I don't think there's anything to worry about there. I don't really see that one happening. So I think this is which is good news. I think really good news. Matis Fernandes now. So Matis Fernandes of Southampton. This has come from X. I'm just going to read out what he said. The next target for West Ham is Matis Fernandes of Southampton. He was a sub for Southampton getting in their first game, and this was largely down to our and other clubs' interest. He is highly sought after, and we will have to beat a lot of competition for his signature. However, this is from X, I do think we're going to step up our efforts to sign him next week. I think it's going to be even sooner than that. Could even be today, or today or Monday. I think it's going to be quite very, very soon. At the end of the day, we've got to hurry up because we're kicking off next weekend. So I can't imagine we're going to hang around too much. It'd be interesting to see what other clubs do when West Ham put a bid in. And he said, I suspect a bid will go in for the player from us again very soon. So Matis Fernandes, for me, I'm feeling more likely with that one at the moment than all of them. I'm going to come to Jacob Ramsey in a second. I think I'm getting the impression something's happening there. I don't know. I just get the feeling that there's a bit of an encouragement all round Fernandes and West Ham. It's just something it feels like that's the way it's sort of leaning, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, you go online and you read the reports in like the big website stuff. It's all West Ham Fernandes. We always seem to be the front name. Sky Sports mentioned it yesterday in the Southampton game. They mentioned West Ham when they mentioned about Fernandes. They said, we hear West Ham are at the door for him. And it was like, there were these sort of things. These things encourage me a little bit. And I know maybe I've got to take it a little bit of a pinch of salt, but I know, obviously, Exa said there is going to be competition, but it looks like they're anticipating a bid from West Ham. I personally think, obviously, I know I've got my claret and blue glasses on. I can't help, with that. I'm always going to be more encouraged, but I think West Ham's a good move for him. Firstly, it's back to the Premier League. He's not going to play in the Championship. He's far too good for that. We know that. But I think at West Ham as well, he's not only coming to a Premier League club that's more established, a bigger club than Southampton. No disrespect, but we are. but he's going to come straight into the team. You know, he can look at that midfield and go, well, I'm going to be playing alongside Lucas Paqueta and Freddie Potts. I'm going to be that in that midfield. It's not as if he's taking a gamble, going to a club thinking, well, I hope I can get in, and I'm not quite sure, and it's going to be a bit. It's West Ham. You're going to be one of our main midfielders for next season, and I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just being a bit naive with it all, but I look at West Ham at the moment, and I think it's quite a relatively exciting time in terms of what could be. There's a growing sense about the club at the moment under Potter. I get the feeling that if we get this right, if West Ham can just get the right players in, you look at Hermansen, I feel like that's a really big signing for us. A few more tweaks to this team, and you're starting to see a bit of something, you know. And I don't know. I just get the feeling it'd be a good move for him. I really do. I really get the impression we're going to go quite big for him as well. Got to try and get it over the line. So I'm relatively encouraged by what I'm seeing at the moment in terms of Fernandez. I think we might have a good chance of getting him. I really hope so. I really, really hope so. In terms of Jacob Ramsey, so that's a quick here. I'm just reading off my phone. The reason I'm doing that, right, is because, you know, people will notice my videos have been a bit crap in terms of the time. The audio's been off. Probably say that. It's probably doing it now. When I've had things I've been reading, I've had to read on my laptop as I'm doing these videos. I feel like that's always been a problem for it. I don't know what's going on my computer, so I'm reading off my phone. So apologies, I'm not looking there. I'm just looking down here. Right, Ramsey. Ramsey, Aston Villa, although apparently he's a key target, although he's apparently keen to stay at Aston Villa. We are still in the process of trying to convince him to move for us, and that would be a good move for him. And his agent Will Salthouse is also working hard to convince the player. Although it seems that Aston Villa are now prepared to offer him a deal. I did see that, which I'm finding quite confusing because, as far as we understood it, for quite some time, Villa were quite happy to offload him. He was considered a player actually that he'd been informed by Villa. I understand it that we're happy to sell because Villa need to balance the books PSR wise. I mean, I know that they'd sold their women's team, but if they want to carry on spending money, they do need to carry on some player sales. So Ramsey was considered one they could sell. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure where this one's going, Ramsey. I don't think that's dead in the water, but Matis Fernandez for me feels like the more likely for me at the moment. There's interest that Andre Santos of Chelsea is a player that we like, but apparently, you know, he's considered quite an important player for them. Josh Brownhill of Burnley has effectively been not written off yet. West Ham is not considered a target at all, but if he's available possibly at the end of the window, then maybe we'll look at him. I don't like the sound of that really, but let's just wait and see. That's kind of where we are at the moment with them. I'm just going to go through the list here. And as I talked about earlier as well, Lucas Paqueta to Newcastle, we've poo-pooed that one. That's one that we're not don't believe anything's going to happen there. Newcastle reported they're going to look to pay only up to £35 million for Paqueta. Well, West Ham want north of 60 million, so that kind of writes that one off. So I don't think there's anything to worry about too much for Paqueta. I think he is going to be staying, so I don't think really need to be too concerned. So that's kind of where we are. So West Ham are playing Lille today. As I record this hasn't happened yet, but we're playing Lille today. So by the time this goes out, we'll know about that. We'll probably have the update on what's happened there. It's behind closed doors, another little friendly. I think it's going to give the opportunities for likes of Callum Marshall and Edson Alvarez to get some minutes, which is good. Hopefully we can come through it without any injuries, and hopefully putting half decent performance as well will be good. So that's where we are. So look, it's in terms of transfers then, I think it's a big week. We know the priority is the midfield. Matis Fernandez for me feels like the one we're going to really try and push for this week. I really get the feeling of that. And Jacob Ramsey. I imagine this is going to be the week now we're going to see that happen. I don't think it's going to be one where we're going to be sitting around for a few days waiting to hear if we've done anything. I'm bloody hoping that's not the case. We haven't got the luxury of that now, West Ham. We haven't got time is starting to tick. If we're going to get Matis Fernandez in, we want him in soon, really soon, because we want him to come and meet the team, bedding, because we need him to be starting against Sunderland. So I'm hoping, even possibly today, we hear a bit more. It could well be that I've got to come and do another video later on in regards to this, but let's wait and see. But that's the transfer update at the moment. Let's hope for a positive week. It feels like it's been a positive pre-season. I'm overall, on the whole, I'm very encouraged by West Ham at the moment. I'm feeling pretty good. Not like I'm not buzzing and thinking, oh my god, this is going to be Europe. Here we come. I don't feel like that, but I feel encouraged that we're not going to have this diabolically terrible season that seems to be hanging around us a little bit. That sort of mood around the club that's going to be a disastrous season. I'm not feeling that. I'm actually feeling that we could well be could spring a surprise this season. Who knows? But big week for us, though. Big week in the transfer market. So let's hope we can do the business. And Matis Fernandes, that's the one I think to seriously keep an eye on. But have a good one. And if anything changes, I'll do another video. But enjoy the rest of your Sunday and catch you tomorrow. Come on, you irons.